All right, what's going on, guys? It's been a while since we done a video for this group, and I'm sorry about some of that. It has to do with school and work and other responsibilities that have just taken up a lot of our time. We just got away from it, but I thought I would do a update on the rabbit business here. So I'm going to show you some of the things we've done. If you look from the other videos, you can see um, we've added the nesting boxes to both of these separate hutches and split these two does up. So now, whether we had two of them living here, now they each have their own apartment, and that's important. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. We've also built the second set of hutches. Now, unlike the first set, I had to construct the entire hutch. This one we actually purchased the cages um, independently, and I just easily built a frame for the cages to set on, and I'll show you that up close. So these are actually just independent cages setting on a frame. We'll have two small cages here, and this is what we call the bachelor suite here, because this is Bucky's home. And well, there's actually a controversy about what his name is. One of my daughters once named him Alfredo, but I ended up calling him Bucky because he's the buck rabbit, and that seemed to be an easy nickname that stuck with him. So this is his bachelor suite. Kind of expanded. These, see, those two cages are kind of small, and I thought he needed more room, and so I just kind of knocked a wall down and pushed that back. And this is his full area here that he's got to himself, and that what he's laying on is called a resting pad. That's just makes it a little bit easier on his paws and from walking on that wire. And he kind of likes that. And this one little thing we've done here, and I show that this is just a flower bucket. We planted several fruit trees and various kinds of trees: apple trees, plums, apricots, peaches, pears. And these were some of the buckets we got through. So I just drilled a couple holes in there where I could run wire ties through the drainage holes, and they make a really nice place for him to get in out of the weather. And he really likes to get in there and hide at times and get out of sight. But I have another project, and maybe I'll talk about that in a minute, that I think is really exciting. I think I'm going to try. But the reason it's important that we separated them is because today was the day we first began to bred these rabbits. Well, we haven't bred but one. This was her right here. She's kind of resting in her next nesting box now, but she was bred today, and tomorrow she'll be bred, and these will be the boxes, hopefully, that they'll raise our first Kindle. Or is it a Kindle? I think it is kindling when they have the rabbits, or is that what? I think it's both. They kindle a Kindle, and what they have is kits, or like to call them bunnies, but officially it's called a kit. So at any rate, so she was bred today, and she will be bred tomorrow. And it's important that we separate them, because they'll become quite territorial and aggressive with one another once they're pregnant, so they can't share the same space anymore. So we've divided this into apartments, and hopefully 31 to 33 days we should have baby rabbits, little bunnies, which we're going to build one more set of hutches like this pretty soon, and these will still remain smaller cages because we are breeding these rabbits for meat. And so what that means is that we're going to shoot for 12 weeks. They will be harvested, and we will process them for meat. So the bunnies for meat will never really get as large as the parents, and they won't need as much room. So this will be their little apartments until the time comes to harvest them, and then I'll build another set of four, which will give us 6 total apartments, and that should work out nicely. And I've actually got another long set of cages, because somebody I guess they were selling out of their caging material, and so I just bought them out, and it was cheaper to buy all this together. And I'll show you what I've got left. And this is a really long cage. I think there's about 12 small cages there, and I've got the other 4 cages you can see on this side here. Parts of an automatic watering system, which I haven't decided if I'll actually incorporate, and the feeders that came with it. But at any rate, eventually we'll be able to set those up. But they should give us everything we need to produce. From what I'm figuring, if we were to eat about 2 to 3 rabbits a month, we should easily be able to produce that from what we have here. And eventually, my desire is to modify this cage into another bachelor pad, and then we could take let's do the same thing with the additional set like this, which would give us 2 cages for bucks, and 2, so I could have another buck and 2 more does. Depends on how our production goes, what we need, etc. But anyway, the other thing that I think is exciting, and I don't know when I'll get a chance to work on this project, but I've run across an idea. What they call it, people call it a cooling station or artificial burrow or whatever. But basically, what we're going to try to do is take this tub, take this flower pot, and cut it. This is about the same as the flower pot we had for Bucky there to sleep in. But we're going to make that the entranceway, fit that into, shorten that and fit that into that, and actually push that through the hutch, and then build a small stand on the back of his hutch. And he's going to get to be the first experimenter with this. We just build a small stand back here that drops down just a bit, and so he can actually go through that and go into a artificial burrow. It'll be just slightly lower, insulated, and you can see it's kind of shady back here. I try to keep these hedges growing around them so that they're shaded and they feel protected. But this will actually let him come out of the major part of his cage where he's got his food and water, and go down into that artificial burrow, get out of the weather, get out of the wind, etc. Sleep during the day if he desires to, and then come out, because they're typically nocturnal more than they are. They're not nocturnal. And is it diurnal, or is that a disease? I'm not sure. I think it may be diurnal. I can't remember. But whatever it means, that they are more active in the early morning hours and the late afternoon hours. They actually sleep during the heat of the day, and they sleep in the middle of the night. But they prefer the twilight hours. And so that should be interesting, and I want to particularly do that for my breeding rabbits, because they'll be with us the longest. They're doing the most work, and I want them to have. I want all of the rabbits, even the ones we're harvesting, to have a very nice life. But like I said, the ones we use to breed, they're not going to ever get that big, so we can effectively make their cage pretty comfortable for those 8 to 12 weeks while they're growing. And I've covered this before in other rabbit videos, and we're just we're not experts. We're just it's experimental to us, and we're kind of growing in the knowledge of it. And but what we have said before about rabbits is that rabbits typically, just by nature, a rabbit likes to live around its burrow pretty close. And it usually ventures out just far enough to eat and munch on grass early in the morning, late at night. They're not like the large herbivores that like to, they need large sprawling areas. They're not like deer that need to run and graze and have a lot of open space. Rabbits just like a smaller space. They live in a smaller space naturally, and they're very comfortable if they've got a place to sleep. They feel secure. They got plenty of food and water. They just don't need as much space to be happy with their lives. And you can tell the demeanor of an animal, how it looks. And now I will say this: I've seen rabbit operations that I would not have. I've seen people do. As a matter of fact, I'm trying not to incriminate, but I've seen it. And I don't think things should live in nasty mess. They shouldn't be living in filthy cages. They should. We raise animals to eat, agriculture, that's a part of it, is realizing where our food comes from, and that animals, I feel that they serve a purpose, that, they have been created and by God for a purpose, and, but they should be treated with dignity and respect, and they should, to the best of our abilities, we should be able to give them a good life, a good, wholesome, healthy life. That's where we try to do everything we can to make sure these rabbits are happy and healthy and well cared for and respected from the time that they're come into our care and to the time that we put them on our plate, and even then being very respectful with what they sacrificed to give us. So, but anyways, I ought to do an update there. Let's see if I get a little shot of this. It's a little messy out there right now, but you can see what we've got so far. Those are the 2 hutches we have, and like I said, hopefully we'll be getting some rabbits, maybe by December, and I don't know. People ask if we were selling for pets. I don't mind selling them for pets. Rabbits make a good pet. If you want, alternative to a small dog in the house, a cat. They can be trained to a litter box. These are really beautiful bunnies, very soft and sweet, and but we're raising them for meat, and so hopefully around December, I'm thinking first part of December, we should be, if everything worked well today, should have our first bunnies, and then December, I'm thinking probably January, maybe toward the end of February, going into early spring, we should have our first rabbits to process, and then maybe we'll have some more videos then, because rabbit can be processed. Rabbits are very versatile food as well, and it's just you can fillet rabbit and eat it, and just about any recipe that you would put chicken in, it's a pretty decent substitute for chicken. Everything tastes like chicken, they say, but rabbit is a very lean white meat, or meat like chicken in its texture. But you can also ground it up and make ground it up and make ground beef from it, or not ground beef, but ground meat from it, that you can use similar to, you can put it in tacos, chili, certain things like that. And then you can also make sausages out of it. You can make rabbit sausage. So there's a lot of versatility with the meat, and on a small homestead. And our project, of course, we're looking at eventually adding acreage. We have about 3 total acres that we're able to kind of manage in a certain way to produce, and we've scratched the surface on our production at this point. But our goal is to try to show how much food that can be produced on a small piece of land, and sufficiently, And another exciting part about the rabbits, and some of this may be technical, and if you're squeamish about agriculture, then I don't mean to offend you with this, but the truth of the matter is that rabbits are a great source of protein for the homestead, that take up a little bit of room, and they basically produce protein from grass. Now, if you think about that, that's pretty awesome in terms of conversion. And I was able over the summer to feed these rabbits. 3 rabbits, and you can tell these are not skinny. These are fat, fluffy, healthy rabbits. And I was able to feed them. I think we bought maybe 1 or 2. I will say total 2, and I'm just finishing it up, bags of rabbit feed, which is basically dried grass anyways, what that is, for $16. And for that, I've raised the 3 here, but they mostly ate grass, and they loved it, and they got fat and healthy off the grass. What I'd like to do next year is be able to dry and put my own hay back for them, so that I could literally just grow protein right out of you're looking here at the grass, how much money do we spend to cut grass? Well, I could take that same grass and convert it. Well, I can't. The rabbits can't convert it into protein. And another awesome thing about this is, as our chickens, of course they have their own function in the homestead. And but one of the things that we have to do is we do have to supplemental feed them sometimes, and that comes down to protein for their diets. And the rabbits will actually be able to help with that as well, because the byproducts of what we, and I'm a little distracted because there's always animals doing crazy things around me on the homestead, and but as you're trying to talk, but yeah, but anyway, they'll produce protein. The byproduct of what they produce will be able to actually help supplement the chicken's feed. And so it's just another system, I think, that we've created where we can take, and if the yard, I'm sorry, I'm just distracted now. The dog's doing something crazy. I knew that she would the minute I started doing a video. But the yard becomes almost like a large solar panel that's converting sunlight into grass. The grass then is, the rabbits become almost a system, if you will, if you want to refer to it that way. It converts the grass from the sun into protein and other products. You could use the pelts for certain things, but mainly protein. And then the protein can go both to the homestead for our diet, also help supplement the chickens, which would mean that if we could figure out a way to produce this into the byproducts into food that we could keep, we could theoretically fully supplement the chickens based on things that we're growing right here, and maybe eliminate any kind of feed whatsoever. Like I said, these chickens the chickens don't eat very much feed either. They're probably about maybe 10% of their diet is rounded out with feed we offer for them, just to make sure that they've got plenty. But at any rate, so that's another system that we're trying to develop and trying to get moving along, and hopefully we'll get all those things in place. But really excited about this. Like I said, 31 to 33 days, hopefully we will be showing you pictures soon of baby rabbits, bunnies. I'll say this right before I kind of jump off is, a lot of people say, well, how do you do that? If you raise these animals, or, I think they should. Some people say, don't get attached to them, and I think there's a certain wisdom there of, I think don't get too attached to the fact that their purpose is to live, to a certain age, and then they're for food, but they should be treated well, treated with respect, and honored for the thing that they bring to the homestead. So, at any rate, you should be seeing some really cute rabbits here, and even beyond that, we should be having some nice meals prepared for the homestead out of that. So when we have more information, we'll share it. Talk to you guys later.